Alright, strap it in. This is the truth between the battle between Beanie Segal and State Property versus Jadakiss and D Block. Everybody loved the State Property D Block freestyle battles and crew versus crew. They were eating it up. But this is part 2 for those who just clicked on the video and missed from the Jay-Z Jadakiss video. It's in the what they call the playlist, which this video's in. So go back and check out the playlist, and you can go back and see that video so you can get caught up if you just don't want to go right into this. Now, for everybody else who's caught up and just waiting for this, here we go. Now, Beans is like telling Jay, they all in Baseline Studio, and he telling Jay, let me get at him. You heard what you gonna do? You heard what he said? What you gonna do? You know, like, you heard the lines. I heard you throw a little something, you know, and he responded. You know, he caught the message, and everybody's scared. I'm telling you, Jay-Z was scared as a heart attack to battle with Jadakiss on the mic because it could hurt him. He feel there's nothing that can come that can make him go, man, you best Jada. Lyrically, he was afraid of battling with Jadakiss. He felt more comfortable going at Nas because he felt he had the ace in the hole. So when he did his little summer jam thing, he was high supreme. He wasn't thinking about that. He didn't want to know. I ain't gonna go that route. No, I don't think I'm gonna take that route. I'm gonna sit this one out. And then Bleak was like, they trying to get Bleak to go in on it with him. Bleak was like, Bing, you finna do what? Man, you crazy. That's crazy. You can hold your own, but that's crazy. Messing with kids right now. He hot right now. He on fire. You know, I just want to do. No, I ain't gonna get in that. So Memphis Bleak was gonna be on State Property, but he was like, nah, he gonna sit that one out and be his own entity. He felt he was big enough to stand on his own and not be in State Property, but he was gonna do some, you know, coincide with Beans and do more songs with Beans. But once that battle started, he clearly wanted nothing to do with that. And Jay was like, nah, this ain't gonna be a good idea. Cause a lot of people doubted would Beans be able to hold his own against Jadakiss. So what happened was, when this was getting ready to drop, Nas was talking to Jada. And Jada had just dropped just a little line on the album, like the Here We Go Again with DMX. And that was the final touch when Jay gave his permission to let Beans go ahead. Like, Beans, go ahead and do your thing. Because Beans was talking reckless already, trying to get Kiss them to diss him or say something slick. And when he got involved and was talking slick on stage, you know, doing his little, he did a little freestyle spat at his show and was like, Kiss, you know, he ain't even all that, blah, 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 and spit a little freestyle. So when they recorded that song, it was really a response to what Beans was talking about him jumping in the middle of it when it really had nothing to do with him. So, but this song came out of nowhere because the album, I think it just came out, but they had already heard the joint. Here We Go Again was on a mixtape. So when Here We Go Again is on the tape, they hear that. Beans just got the green light to go and put the song out. Here's what you didn't know. Beans ain't write that song. That so-called freestyle that when Beans just went off and start lacing Jada, that was a collaboration of the entire State Property. They were all in Baseline Studios coming up with the song. And Dame, when they was doing that, Dame was in there just instigating. Oh man, y'all gonna do that? You gonna let her talk about you like that? You ain't got nothing to say nothing back. I don't know, man. Jada gonna take y'all head off, man. Shoot. I don't know. You know, the pressure cooker. Pressure cooker. What you gonna do? Dave was a funny dude. Like, real funny and stupid and playing jokes. So he's all on them. You don't want to catch a break, baby. It's gonna be raining and bricks gonna be falling. State Property gonna be dead before it even gets started. So they put out the movie, but the movie was gonna launch its like branch State Property, which they told Beans like, we gonna put you in charge of State Property. This gonna be your label because you brought these guys over, so you get to eat off them. Now all these dudes, Espino, Sparks, all these young cats, they impressed by the limo that picked them up. They impressed that they get to be in the studio with Jay-Z. So they want to write the illest rhymes alive. They, man, we gonna make a lot of money. We gonna do this and that. We gonna get chains, and they don't know what the publishing is. They don't know anything. They just getting robbed of their creativity. But it was either that or being broke in the hood. So what was your trade in? So they thinking, you know, they eyes is wide. They going for it. So they writing vicious. You know, like, it ain't nothing for them to come up with lines. So everybody's coming up with lines, and Beans is the one delivering it. Why do you think they all know the rhyme? They in the background basically rapping it with Beans as he's saying it. Because they all know the lines. They all wrote them. So they all sitting there, and Beans is just spilling it because he has such great delivery that it comes off like a freestyle, like he talking. When he's spitting, you know, and because Beans is really a freestyle. He don't write nothing. So when they gave him lines and everything, that's all you need to do. Just give him the lines. Beans will do it. He gonna get in there and start spilling. So when the Beans started doing his thing, and Kiss came back in like the next day, this was the fuel for all the DJs to get involved and do their thing. And Nas was involved because Nas was he had just got through recording a song with Jadakiss, and Nas had his response song coming out. At first everybody thought Jada was gonna be on the song with Nas dissing Jay-Z and Rockefeller, but when he did the Stillmatic freestyle, it was just Nas. And then they put all of them on the same mixtape. You got DJ Ferris and all these other DJs out there all putting these songs out together. So it was a DJ feeding frenzy. You got all the songs on one. You got, because they all came out so quick that a DJ, you had one CD, you had them all. You had even the Here We Go Again. And what people didn't know, if you listen to the song like The Flow that didn't make Jadakiss album, was on all the mixtapes. Beans, that's what made the intro funny when he was like, my headphones on fire this time around, because Jada was saying this in like The Flow and a couple other songs that was out. He was just taking lines that Jadakiss was saying on those songs and just twisted it. My blood pressure's building. So it made for a funny intro going into it. If you heard those songs, see, if you heard those songs and then heard that, you laughed before it even started. Then it got serious. Now, but what that song did and everything after that, just the tension was blown. Now he's stepped into a realm where it's gonna be problems, because now Styles P is involved. Because P, they wanted to make sure they didn't diss Styles P. They just wanted to focus on Jada. And then when Styles got involved, like, oh, don't try to exclude me into this. Oh, I'm in it. Like, I'm on the fence. You know, and everybody else saying, no, we all in. So once they saw Sheik and all them was in, especially after that, they didn't hear Styles P on the Jada response. It was just Sheik and them. So they really thought Styles, like, so they basically giving props to Styles P. And then all of a sudden Styles get involved too. And give them some of the hardest laced verses you ever heard in your life. But okay, that just started the spark, okay? Because this ain't finna be a battle about this song, that song, this song, that. You can go on for days. They had CDs. But what happened is they met up at a show. And it was about to go down. You know, they was on the show, booked. And they were like, man, do we need to have security here? Because they got a set going on. And State Property showed up. And what happened was, Jadakiss at that time, what happened? I think Jada had it was J Hood, Jadakiss, and Sheik Luch, and Styles P came late, so they were doing their show, and it happened. The State Property was there, and they wasn't performing; they were in the house. That's what happened. State Property showed up at the set, and they weren't supposed to be there. So they were thinking like, oh, do we need extra security? And Styles P wasn't even there. And Jada was basically like, what up? In his raspy voice. Well, what's up? What we gonna do? So, but he frontlined everything, which was a surprise to many. Jada was just Jada. You know, what is it gonna be? We finna do it here? Like, what's going on? And they was like, we just here to see the show. Y'all wanna pop it to our face. But see, State Property, all these dudes, they from Philly. These dudes didn't care. If it was gonna be a fist fight, let it jump off. J Hood didn't care either. He was like, look, let it go. And Jada like, look, dude, we battle and keep these, let's make some money out of this. We finna launch D Block and really throw it out there and get this paper rolling. We gonna put these mixtapes out and then sell these mixtapes on the street. Instead of giving the DJs the money, we finna make the money. So D Block started going to work on making a mixtape. Right after that show, they was like, look, this is what we finna do. We finna get this money. So all of a sudden, the mixtapes come out. And when the mixtape came out, everybody attention was shifted. Because once the D Block mixtape came out, it came out like right after Ether. Because when Ether came out, it was like a setup 1-2 punch. Once Ether dropped, the Rockefeller, they was running like roaches. You know, somebody like, oh my God, we got to run and regroup. This song had severed everything in the rock. People arguing and fighting amongst themselves. So they jumped out there. Like everybody had to jump out to protect Jay-Z. Jay-Z had to respond to Ether. He couldn't just sit on the fence. Because he's losing. So now Jadakiss ain't even on the menu now. So here come the Rock. We finna defend Jay. Let's talk about Nas and Jay and Kiss and all of them. So Beans is going hard. Man, Nasir Jones, he coming at Nas. He got all the State Property dudes coming at him. We finna go at Nas, but Nas ain't going for that. Y'all too small for him to address. He ain't finna address them. He did what he wanted to do. He wasn't thinking about that. So this was the bridge for D Block to come in and make they little bones. So they come deep, like 30, 40 at a show that they had up in like in New York. It was one of the small events. And it was ROC. So it was State Property and all them. So they clowning them on the fuck Jay-Z. Everybody was hating Rockefeller, screw Jay-Z. The whole thing, it turned the wave in the tide. So it was cool to hate Jay-Z. It was the cool thing to do now. So everybody coming out, D Block and them throwing song verse after verse, but they was spilling it. Like both sides is kicking it, spinning it, spilling their guts out. But on the streets, people don't see what this was doing. If you was from Philly, you was offended by what was happening over there with D Block and what they was coming back with. And definitely the East Coast other sides did not like, especially Yonkers. They really didn't like anybody from Philly. And I never knew this, but they had a history of not liking people from Philly. Yonker people do not like a lot of people. They're a whole different type of mentality of New York. I had to learn that. People from different boroughs, it is different styles, different attitude. You can almost tell what borough somebody is from if you live in New York just by the way they act, they walk, they talk, they something they get off, they pheromone gives them away. And the same thing is about somebody from Philly. And Yonkers and Philly don't mix. This was way before the beef. So when this happened, people that was Rockefeller was with them from Philly, rolling with State Property, like, yo, Philly and State Property in the house. It's Philly thing and Yonker dudes. Blah, blah, blah. So people are locked up on Rikers Island. From Philly, some from Yonkers. They all in one big island. And when they hearing about these mixtapes, these wars, and they be damned if they don't get to hear in the sales and hear about what's going on. It's people getting shanked. It's people getting stabbed. Prison fights over D Block. This and that. D Block, baby. D Block. That's right. Yonkers holding it down. It's people with D Block tattooed on their face. They are not getting out of jail. Fighting people from Philly who just, they Philly. They don't give a damn. So this was going to grow into a big war. So Beans and Kiss is like, look, Beans wanted to stop. Because Beans is like, look, I'm with the Lord, I'm with Allah, I ain't with all this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this gotta stop. Because they almost got Jada and D Block when they came to Philly. Like, the crowd was crazy. They was ready to rip them apart in Philly. You know, they really had to get some extra security to get them out of there. That's how serious it was. So, they came to the Kiss, wanted to keep it going, but Beans thought of that as a trap. Like, why does dude want to keep it going? We in the park doing it up for the kids, and they stepped to the side and talked. Beans wanted to talk and say, okay, let's just end it now. It'll just be a draw or whatever it is. Whoever people say won, that's what they say. Just let it be done, because, he thought it was a setup. The way Kiss is like, let's keep it going. Let's keep making this money, man. Let's do this. He like, what? Keep it going. This seemed like a setup. So he just like, I ain't going to keep it going at all. I'm done with it. And he just walked away. Because he knew, he didn't know, but Kiss was like, let's just keep it going. Because he really wanted to make some money. He didn't really care about nothing else at that point. But he just didn't trust it. He's like, this dude probably got some verses ready to go right off the top of his dome. So why would I sit out there and shoot my gun? And then his guy Lonnie L and his brother, his half brother, came up and told him, like, man, dude, let's get this money, baby. And y'all don't know his brother, he played Baby Boy up in the State Property movie. But he's telling him, like, man, let's just get this money. We ain't got to worry about all that other craziness, man. Let's just get this paper. That's what it's about, this paper. So they thought about it for a minute. Then everybody conscious get involved, and he was like, nah, let's kind of let it die out. So Beans bowed out, but they kept going. State Property, Oskino and Sparks and all them, they like, man, you done, we ain't done. So they going at it with Sheik Luch and J Hood, who don't want to stop. They like, man, look, we gonna keep it going. Styles P's like, look, man, I got an album coming out. I gotta work on my album. I ain't got time. I dropped a couple of verses, but I'm done right now. So they kept it going for it until it just fizzled out. You know, it was just like, it's time to do something else. You know. And then The Rock had all kind of problems going on the inside. So couldn't nobody really focus on that. So when that was all said and done and said, it became an even bigger problem because the simple fact that personalities changed. People, alliances changed. And the Rockefeller was in the midst of a breakup